Hello and welcome to On Purpose Astrology. This short video is about the new moon in Leo on August the 16th. Now, the new moon is the dark of the moon. It's when the sun and the moon are united in a conjunction. It's the start of the new moon cycle. The moon cycle, we have a monthly moon cycle, which is 29 days long. So every month during the new moon, it's a chance to reflect and rest. It's the dark of the moon. Things aren't known at the dark of the moon. We don't know how the month is going to progress, but we can plan, we can reflect, and we can think about it. Now, the reason the moon is dark once a month is because of the relationship between the sun, the earth, and the moon. Now, the moon doesn't have any light of its own, just like every other planet and moon. It reflects the light of the sun. So when it's the dark of the moon, the new moon, the moon doesn't reflect any light, doesn't absorb and reflect any light from the sun. And what's interesting about the new moon in Leo, which happens once a year, is that Leo is ruled by the sun. That makes it quite interesting. It makes it a different experience for Leo. Now, this video is specifically about Leos. It's also specifically about every sign because we're all very tuned in. Many of us are very tuned in with the rhythms of the moon. If you think about the female menstrual cycle, for example, it's often tuned in with the moon. The tides, the water. The moon is a watery, call it a planet in astrology. It's not really a planet, of course, as we know, it's a satellite. But it's associated with water. And of course, we are made of water. 70%, I think it is. And of course, most of the world is oceans and seas and rivers, etc. So, Leo, new moon in particular. Well, let's have a look at the chart. So, putting the chart up because I know many of you who watch are very interested in astrology know the basics of looking at a chart and identifying what's in a chart. If you're not, then don't worry about it. It's just a visual and I will explain everything. You don't need to be able to read a chart to understand and get something out of this video. The new moon in Leo here, you can see that at the top left of the chart in house 11, where the moon and the sun are conjunct, which means that they're together in the same degree. So what's Leo all about? First of all, well, Leo as a sign is expressive, it's creative, it's heart-centered. Leo rules the heart, the sun rules the heart. It's said to love being in the spotlight and likes to be at the center of things. It's a warm and generous sign, it's a fire sign, it's spirited. Now, when there's a new moon, I always recommend that we don't know really what's going on because it's dark, the dark of the moon. Symbolically, it's the dark of the moon. It's a planning time, it's a review time, it's a rest time. It's a quiet time, a dark time, so to speak. Well, that doesn't sound much fun for Leo, particularly as Leo loves the sun. The moon here isn't reflecting any light of the sun like it would do during a full moon 2 weeks after the new moon. It's the full reflection of the sun's rays onto the moon when everything becomes clear. So in a new moon, things aren't clear. So what's this like for Leo? Now, as I said, these energies are good for everyone. So think about how you express yourself, your creativity, what means something to you, what's heartfelt for you, where do you like to be at the center of things. It's also particularly pertinent if you have anything at 23 degrees in the chart, because you can see here that the sun and the moon are at 23 degrees. But there's another side of Leo, and I think during this new moon, the other side of Leo comes to the fore. No one can be at the center of things. No one can be in the spotlight all the time. We all need time to retreat, rest, and relax. Offstage Leo. I remember reading an article many years ago in an astrology magazine called The Mountain Astrologer. And forgive me, I forget the astrologer's name, but she'd written an article about offstage Leo. And that resonated with me because I'm married to a Leo, I have Leo friends, and every Leo I've ever known or worked with, they always need time off stage, however extrovert they might be. And some Leos are shy pussycats. They're not all extroverts. Every Leo I've ever known has needed time off stage, time to themselves, time alone, time to relax. Don't forget the image of the lazy lion, right? Everyone needs time to be a little bit lazy now and again. And under a Leo new moon, what a great opportunity. So what can you do when the Leo new moon on the 16th of August? It's only, a day, one day either side. You can sort of think about the energies. After that, the moon starts to grow in light and in energy and in strength. So during this new moon, well, creative planning for the month ahead. Think creatively for the month ahead. I've already alluded to this, but reflect on what's in your heart, what's close to your heart, what means something to you, what puts you centered in your heart, center into your heart, breathe into your heart space. If you are into meditation and breathing exercises, it's a great opportunity to breathe into your heart space, talk to your heart. We have actual neurons in our heart. It's known as the third brain, along with the head brain, obviously, and the gut brain. Breathe into your heart, feel the cells of your heart, feel your heart beating. It's actually a lovely experience to focus on your heart because it's warm, it's generous, it's life, isn't it? It's life itself. Sow seeds. Great time to sow seeds for what you want to accomplish, what you want to get done during the month ahead from the 16th of August onwards. And as I said, be like the lazy lion, have a rest, chill out a little bit in the sunshine, if you can find it, if there is sunshine in your part of the world. Now, looking at the 23 degrees of this new moon, you'll see if you look into house 8, Uranus, the planet with the blue symbol, is also at 23 degrees. So they're in a square aspect. Square aspect creates a little bit of tension, a little bit of, oh, what's going on? Oh, okay, what does Uranus mean when it's in square to the sun and moon? Well, it's a restless energy. Uranus provides a restless energy. So this might get in the way of being able to sleep soundly or to do that resting and laziness and relaxation that I've been talking about. You might have a lot on your mind. So that's something to think about. It sets up the month ahead. So these energies will kind of, they will fade away. They'll be strongest at the new moon, but they'll go through the month as a theme. So Uranus shapes things up. So what is being shaken up a little bit in your chart? Remember, this is a short-term transit. The lunar cycle is only 1 month. The actual transit of the Uranus square exact to your sun and moon is a day at the most. So you don't need to worry about your whole life getting shook upside down, but it is nervous tension, creates tension. It can bring surprises, it can bring changes that you don't expect, or changes that you kind of start thinking about where you might like to make a few changes, a few tweaks. As I say, it's an unpredictable energy. So if you do try to relax and you're finding it a little bit difficult, just be comfortable with yourself, be easy with yourself, be kind to yourself. Now you'll see on this chart, if you're an eagle-eyed astrologer, that there is a grand trine from that Uranus to Mars and Mercury in Virgo, down to the bottom of the chart in house 4 to Pluto in Capricorn. See the blue triangle and upside down triangle, that's a grand trine. Now, trine aspects in a chart, we look at those, we think they're the easier aspects, they're flowing, they talk about things that are easy for us. It's an earth grand trine. So whenever you look at a grand trine, it's useful to look at what element it's in. So it's to do with the practical things in life. It's to do with the body and material things, money even. When you have a grand trine, it's like a closed circuit. It doesn't flow perhaps as easy. It just flows within itself, around itself. And this can be quite defensive. A grand trine can be quite a defensive aspect pattern. With Uranus there and Mars and Pluto, you know, these changes here that we've talked about that might come in with Uranus square to the new moon might feel a little bit scary, a bit unwanted. Because remember, under a new moon, you can't see what's coming yet. It's the dark of the moon. You might want to think about shoring up your personal boundaries, physically, mentally, and emotionally. Learning to say no now and again, perhaps. Boundary setting is not such a bad idea, actually, because if you look at Mars, just in house 12 there, on the border of house 12, it's making an opposition aspect to nebulous Neptune. What does that mean? Well, misunderstandings. That's a real sort of, you know, thing that could happen because Mercury's there in that aspect as well. Hearing things that aren't quite right, they don't sit quite well with you. Passive aggression with Moon in Virgo is another thing. Triggering, being triggered by what people say. Even imagined hurts or triggers. Misunderstandings, as I said, someone says something to you, someone, you know, acts and reacts, and you think, oh, you take it the wrong way. It's not perhaps meant that way, but you take it as a hurt. Put yourself into victim mode, perhaps. Or potentially you do that to others without really realizing. So that's something to be aware of. Also, with this Mars Mercury opposite Neptune, beware of lionizing. It's another word for idolizing. I use lionizing because it's a Leo theme. Beware of lionizing those who offer quick solutions, quick fixes to your problems. So, to summarize, use this Leo new moon to reflect and think creatively. Be prepared for a little bit of sort of tension and a little bit of kind of things feeling a little bit like, oh, nervous tension, for example, which is that Mars, Neptune, but also that Uranus. Set your boundaries. Take yourself off stage for a little while, for a day or two if you can. Rest, relax, and reset. For this new moon holds a potential to be a positive new lunar month ahead. So I hope that's helpful. I hope that's interesting for you. This is the first in a new series. Every month I'm going to do a short video about the new moon and a short video about the full moon. So please like, share, and subscribe. I'd love it if you could subscribe, because then you can get notifications of when these new moon and full moon, and also I'll be touching on eclipses when they come around. And it's been an absolute pleasure to share this information with you. And as I said, thank you so much for watching. I'm really enjoying making these videos for you. And please do come again. Thank you. Goodbye.